Hi, I am Osman. I am an energy healer on a master level and with telepathic capabilities and specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, and of course, many other types of psychological, physiological, and spiritual ailments. I am also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, and be sure to visit my website yogawellness786.com for more information on my services. Also remember that my therapies are not a replacement for medical treatment. The definition of meditation by Dr. Andrew Huberman of Stanford University, professor of um, neurobiology and ophthalmology. He, in one of his podcasts, presented his own opinion and his own definition, which he felt is his contribution from his knowledge of what he had studied and what he is practicing, because he's been practicing mindfulness for about 8 years very successfully, because he found it helping a great deal. Is in a dedicated daily practice for almost 8 years, almost daily, for 30 minutes a day. And the method that he uses is the basis of his definition. So he defined it, I'm paraphrasing, right? Not the exact the thing, but more or less, so anything that is meditation is when you directing your mind to within your skin, and normal activities is when your mind is in aspects or things beyond or outside your skin, meaning the external world and the internal world. So within your skin, implying like focusing on your breath, which is inside you, or focusing on your heart rate. And this is a common protocol in mindfulness meditation. It's not the only protocol. There are many types of mindfulness meditation, but a common protocol is when you sit calmly and close your eyes and focus on observing your breathing. And there is 3 degrees to the advancement of this process. Is initially you need to develop, keep bringing your mind to observing your breath, and as you are becoming more and more, it starts to become more and more easy, and your awareness becomes more and more subtle to more subtle things. You start noticing more subtle things in your environment and in yourself. You can start observing the rising and falling of your chest. When you breathe in, it's rising and then it's falling. It's rising and falling. So to redirect from just your breath, generally, specifically to your chest area, and that's just a bridging gap to the next level, to observing your heart rate, because most people cannot feel their heart beating, yet it's an organ the size of your fist, and it's pumping 24/7 from the day you were born, right? Non-stop, right? And it is something you have conditioned yourself to stop feeling. But as you become more and more subtly aware, the heart rate becomes easy to identify. And you can actually count your heart rate and look at your watch and know what's your heart rate, per minute, without feeling your pulse, right? So he's bringing forth a definition of meditation, and not saying that it is his um, type of meditation, made a general definition of meditation, that he feels that this is from a scientific perspective, is bringing forth what he feels as his contribution from his knowledge, right? A general definition to meditation, which of course I beg to differ. I'm teaching yoga meditation for 44 years. I've been practicing it for almost 50 years, and I've studied it from under different masters and different methodologies, diverse methodologies in this particular field, and in alternative fields, in order to enrich, in spirituality. like Qigong, Tai Chi, the Chinese arts, as well as spirituality from many other cultures, right? So meditation, it is, yes, part of it is got 4 stages of meditation according to the Yoga Sutras, which is said to be like the primer on yoga, right? So I wouldn't say it's the only source of yoga, and I don't believe 100% in it. But it is something that I respect, right? And consider an authority. And the Yoga Sutras are written by a person by the name of Patanjali, and it is estimated that he wrote this between 1500 to 1900 years ago. They don't know the exact date, right? Anytime in that period. And there they delineate 4 parts to the actual meditation process. So the first part is withdrawal of your senses, or we can say totally calming of your mind, where you're so calm and you're feeling that calmness rising from your toe up to your head, and eventually you start losing, you feel your consciousness withdrawing from your toes, and it's coming so that you're only feeling yourself from your neck upwards. From your neck downwards, you feel that your body is not there. But of course, you know it's there, but you feel like a little distance, not totally distance from it, not as though it is under anesthetic, a local anesthetic and you're still conscious, no, but as though over 90% of the consciousness is not there, right? So if someone hits you hard on your body or there, you're going to feel it. It's not going to be numb to that, but generally your sensations are, your consciousness is withdrawn from it. This is the first level, right? The calming state. The first step of meditation is to be totally calm and relaxed, because this withdrawal sense is not going to happen if you're not calm and relaxed, right? The second stage is to focus or concentrate. So this is where the definition of Dr. Huberman would come in. He is focusing on something within his skin, on his heart rate, or on his breathing, or the rising and falling of his chest. But he mentioned breathing and he mentioned heart rate, right? Sticking to what he mentioned, right? So this is not the only thing you can focus on. There is also open eye meditation, closed eye meditation, half closed eye meditation. Open eye meditation, you can focus on any object. You can focus on a light, on a candle. This is a very common practice where people focus on a light and they just glare at that light, a little glowing light or a flame, and because it won't hurt your eyes, right? A bright light is going to damage your eyes. So focusing on a gentle flame and just keeping your eyes fixed on it is outside your body. Also, you can focus on nature. You can focus on a waterfall. You can focus on the sound of the sea. You can focus on some meditation music. Even in mindfulness practice itself, they're focusing on a gong. They hit a gong intermittently and you hear the vibration, and focus on the spreading of the vibration of that gong, right? You can focus on that, or you can focus on guided meditation, right? Which is very successful. There are leading psychologists that can lead you in a guided meditation, right? Where you can hypnotize yourself to success. And so forth, right? So there's such a wide variety of meditation concentration factors that are outside the skin. So that definition, by Dr. Human, respect to his knowledge and his contribution, in terms of what he's trying to contribute and so forth, and his practice, in the meditation field. But this is a massive field, and for him to come from his sphere, and his sphere of specialization in neurobiology, and ophthalmology does not qualify him to make scholarly opinion in the meditation sciences. This is a very vast field and a very vast science, right? It involves a lot of theory and studies, much more than what it requires for qualifying as a professor, at any university. So they may say, a lot of people may say, yes, I can go for a meditation class and I can hear, in one lesson I can learn and so forth. No, there's so much behind it. The yoga itself has got so many aspects to it, right? And each field has got immense amount of literature that you have to go into. So let's say, for example, in yoga, as a typical example, let's look at Jnana Yoga, right? Jnana Yoga is like obtaining knowledge. Knowledge is the Vedanta, the Vedic literatures are so rich in poetic knowledge that every verse has got so much of depth into it. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of verses. So I think there's the 4 Vedas, and there's the Puranas, and then the Smritis, and Vedanta is only one explanation of yoga sciences. Then there is also Siddhanta, Saiva Siddhanta, an opposing school of thought. And within the Vedanta field itself, there are various opposing schools of thought that you can study and go deep. And for example, in the astrology sciences of yoga, because yoga and Vedanta also goes into the study of astrology, or predicting outcomes in terms of your birth chart and the time in which you were born and the month and the longitude and latitude, right? From a Western point of view, where you have a program to do the calculations is one method, but from someone who I know, his name is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He was the spiritual master of Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, and Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada is very well known for having started the Hare Krishna movement internationally. He didn't start the Hare Krishna movement, but he started it internationally. He brought it to the US and spread it, to many countries around the world. I think he in his lifetime, he built 108 temples, right? And he's got so many volumes of work and literature, and his is just a small slice, a very small slice of knowledge based on just 2 works, right? The Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, on these 2 works, right? So many volumes of information that one has to go through. And if you study, a lot of his work, it's a small slice of what Vedanta is, because he belonged to a certain school of thought amongst the Vedanta scholars, and that's the Vishtadvaita, where the belief is in a particular God is the supreme personality of Godhead, and all other gods are demigods, right? So he belongs to the Vishtadvaita, and there is the Advaita and the Dvaita aspects broadly, and within the Vishtadvaita sect, of which Prabhupada belonged, there is other people who believe that the mother aspect, or the Kali aspect is the supreme God, or the Shiva is the supreme God, or any number. There's 33 million gods. So 33 million types of philosophies. So looking at how intense Bhaktivedanta's study is, and he discovered the surface of his field, there is 33 million different other fields, right? So before someone fights with me and say, how could I insult a professor? I'm not insulting, I'm saying with due respect, right? How deep the yogic science is, to have this thing, and to come and bring forth, a definition of your own without sufficient knowledge of the field and and the depth, having attempted some of the depth of the study of the field, because it's not possible for a human within his lifetime to be able to encompass the entire depth and the width of this field of science, unless you are on a higher level and able to utilize the higher aspects of the brain, which yoga science is bringing forth to attain, to awaken your dormant capacities and your higher potentialities as a human, right? So coming back to the astrology of Bhakti Siddhanta, he mentioned that it is so deep that many people are not well versed in it, and that is why there is so much of discrepancy in it. In order to become well qualified in it, even 40 or 50 years in-depth study is not enough. You need a higher level or capacity to be able to encompass the deep mathematics that goes into it in order to be able to study it and be accomplished in it, and which he had some degree of advanced accomplishment in that field. And as another field, right, that one may just cursorily say this is nonsense or bring forth, I've studied a book on it, and I've got an AI program that can draw up, this your chart. Is not, because once you study it in depth and correctly, you'll be able to precisely predict an incident to the second throughout a person's life, right? You can predict things, or the propensity for these things, right? And what to do, in order to avoid the impact of it, reduce the impact, or totally, remove it, from a potential happening in your future, and so forth, is what that science is about. So coming back to that definition by the professor of Stanford University, and this is what I feel, people are so proud of their institutions and educational institutions, and you can be a qualified doctor in 6 years, but you can't heal a person with your hands, right? You're healing from what you studied from physiology and pharmacology, right? Prescribing the right, and even the prescriptions is a very limited amount of pharmaceuticals that you have knowledge of, or society currently have knowledge of. But that field is so vast and so wide, and there is so many other herbal remedies as well as chemical remedies that are not yet incorporated into the Western medicine that has amazing curative results. So a good example would be the Ayurvedic practice of medicine in the Kerala or South Indian area. And I had a friend who is not from that area, but from India, in the Calcutta region. And there are people qualified in Ayurvedic medicines, herbal medicines, in most parts of India. And there was some illness that they had, and they go into this shop where there's hundreds of shelves and hundreds of little powders and potions and herbal things, but all natural based, right? And the person didn't even ask what is wrong. He was able to know what is wrong just by his intuition, number one, right? And he just put together about 5 or 6 different powders. He mixed it. He said, just have this, mix it with water and have it for 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is. And person got completely cured in it. And it was like just taking and putting some powders, and you don't even know how he knew which powders to put, from that array. And he didn't have to ask him what is wrong, and didn't have to do any, I didn't need a stethoscope to check what is wrong. He just knew. He said, no, this is your problem, through his intuition, right? Develop the intuition. To develop the intuition, you need to fully open your third eye, or bring it to as much opening as possible. People can try for 50 years and fail to open it, right? It's not easy to open the third eye, right? So how you're going to compare the sciences and belittle, some of the sciences? Don't belittle, have respect for all cultures and all sciences and all fields. And, that especially the Far East and the Eastern sciences, they are becoming lost arts and lost fields. And to now come from a different field and give an opinion on a total different sphere that is not within your ambit of specialization, not in your field, is, I disagree with it, humbly disagree. And hopefully he doesn't, if he comes across this video by some miraculous chance, he doesn't get offended by it, but try to widen his understanding, as well as the understanding of all the viewers who may come across this video. And this is the purpose, is to for me to contribute my experience and my knowledge, which I believe is worthy of sharing, and I want to share it, and to hopefully enrich the knowledge of others who are more, scientifically minded, or regular people which it may just help to improve, enrich, or enhance your life in some way. So take care of yourself always.